Good morning, mga unta. Muna akong giluto nga ako beef lasagna. Pero, abi na akong mapalpak. Kira man po.
Mama.
Di, mga unta. Gamay akong giluto. Pagda ko kaya akong tudlanan. Mga unta. Muna ako. Happy kong maparat. Kan cheese akong gibutang. Wala akong giluto dito da. Ito kong kuan. Corn beef nga. Ito na akong patata. Kalimot ko. Yan naman yung makaon na mo karon. Unya na ni kaunon. Tangod to. Kahit naman. Mapamili magpamahaw na mo karon. Ilit ang pamahaw. Nagluto pa man. As yes ang pamahaw. Ilit na.
She slapped a hand over my mouth to keep me from screaming, then replaced it with duct tape and tied me to a chair. She flicked the switch and turned the lights on. Her clothes were all rumpled and she had bags under her eyes. Bags I knew weren't there before. This is what I have to do to get you to listen, she said to me. I started kicking in my chair and screaming past the duct tape. She couldn't understand what I was saying, so she rolled her eyes and ripped the tape off my mouth. You never me again?
Kulang pag basta akong kuan. Akong pasta.
You don't know anything. I noticed she had started crying. What happened to my real mom? I know it can't be you. You kidnapped me. I cried. Fake mother's eyes grew wide. How? You doubt you're my daughter when we look so similar? She asked me. She shoved a mirror in front of my face and made me look at myself. She was right. We had the exact same nose and eye color. Our teeth were crooked in the same way. And I also had one eyebrow thicker than the other, like her. I guess you're right to doubt, she continued. I'm not your mother, she said with a sob. She then revealed the truth to me. Truth even more heartbreaking than I expected. The woman who raised me did try to kidnap all those kids.
Kaya may inom og sauce din. Bukan ka.
The woman who raised me was my aunt, and my mom was her accomplice in the crime. They were twins, which is why I look so much like my aunt. And if my mom had survived the car crash, I'd look exactly like her too. I wanted a child. My aunt started saying, I guess my sister had to die for me to have one. But you want to leave me too? She cried. I felt horrible, but I think it was mostly because I felt no pity for the woman in front of me. No sympathy at all. She lied to me my entire life and sentenced me to a childhood without friends. She was a criminal. How did the authorities even let her have me? I wanted to scream for help because I didn't know what she was capable of doing to me. But the door soon burst open and the cops came in. The old innkeeper had heard the commotion downstairs.
Paghugas og kuan ding baso. Ano sa guni lang kay limpyo naman tong guni lang kay. Pagka baso ba paminaw?
I don't know what happened to her. I still live in that little town. I have a small apartment in one of.
Hi everyone, I'm Ezra. Let me introduce you to Eddie. Eddie is my ex-girlfriend. I used to be in love with her, but unfortunately she let me down. Let me tell you the whole story from the beginning. I started going to my current school last year. Eddie was on the swimming team. The first time I saw her was at an inter-school swimming competition. She was the most beautiful girl on the team. That was the day I found myself falling head over heels for her. Every morning when I woke up, I was telling myself, I will see Eddie again today. I was spending a long time getting ready in front of the mirror. Earlier, I didn't care much about my clothes. But now I was thinking long and hard about what to wear each day. Even though my family is middle class, I have a lot of clothes to choose from. I owe this to my dad's wonderful boss. My dad is a personal driver. His boss, Mr. Kit, had a son who was 2 years older than me. He loved extreme sports. Unfortunately, he had a terrible accident while rock climbing
Mura
and
po
passed
na
away.
asa kan ana no.
Mr. Kit had lost his wife a few years earlier. After losing his only son, in addition to his wife, he became very depressed. At that time, Mr. Kit used to invite me to his house quite
Tamis
often.
biday.
We used to have these long chats. After he overcame his depression, he said,
Wala na may kan
Ezra,
anay.
the way you think
Karon.
reminds me so much of my son. I feel
Matao
as if
po ka, be?
I'm talking to him. It feels really good to spend time with you. I want to give you a scholarship for your education. After you finish college, you can work for my company. I was really happy to hear this. Mr. Kit went on, saying, I only have one favor to ask of you. Can I send my son's clothes over to your house? I'm going to ask you to wear his clothes when you come to see me. I'd be very happy if you could do that for me. I gladly accepted. That's why I have a lot of clothes. I used to only care about what I was wearing when I was going over to Mr. Kit's house. But now, every morning, I was getting ready for my crush, Eddie.
Tulo naman ka
My
slice
dad
ni mo
would drop
hading.
me off at
Sige
school
na,
in the
please.
mornings. Then he would pick up Mr. Kit
Ang
and
isa
take him to his
kalutuan na mo
office.
ka isa na niya
When my
kaunan.
dad noticed I was dressing differently, he started
Ubo
to make
magatubang
fun of me.
ubo
He'd
din
say,
ay atubas
"Son,
lamisa.
you look like
Alam
you're
ko na
going
katugan
to
na
school
tama
now."
ko.
Mas nila unsa day tawag ana nagdapat mo gawas ka.
I would
Naskan
say,
anan ka
"Dad,
mag-ubo.
please don't tease me." And he'd say,
Anad ka na mukaw
"I'm
sa
not kidding.
laing balay
I'm really
mag-asa
too
magatubang
comfortable in these
mag-ubo ka.
clothes." Although I left home every day thinking, I
Ito
will introduce
magkahawa
myself
ulit
to
ka.
Eddie today, I couldn't bring myself to do it, and I was starting to lose hope. Finally, my chance came when I was least expecting it. I was eating lunch at the cafeteria. Someone came to my table and asked, "Is this seat taken?" When I looked up, it was Eddie. She took me by surprise, and I said, "No, it's totally not taken." Eddie sat down smiling. She held out her hand and said, "I'm Eddie. I wanted to say I know and I love you and your name too." But of course, I couldn't. I held out my hand and said, "I'm Ezra." I couldn't take my eyes off of Eddie during lunch. She was even prettier up close. I was extremely happy now that she was aware of my existence. The next day at lunch, I looked for Eddie, but I couldn't find her.
Sando ka slice
Just
busog
as
na
I was
kayo.
leaving the cafeteria to go to class, I heard her voice, "Ezra." When I turned to look, she was standing right in front of me. Before I could say anything, she said, "I just got back from swimming practice. Come, let's do a TikTok." I didn't know Eddie had a TikTok account. We shot something stupid and uploaded it to both our accounts. Of course, we started following
Ang
each
kailding.
other too.
Ito ning
That
kuan.
night, we texted for hours. When I went to bed,
Mutisting daw i-steam daw na unsa lasa.
hard because I was so afraid this would turn out to be a dream. It could hurt this much. I was most definitely not dreaming.
Ang steam
I fell
mutisting
asleep,
kog unsa
smiling
lasa.
from happiness. In the morning, my dad dropped me off at school again. Just then, I ran into Eddie. I used to walk
Doon ako
from the
naglanira.
school just to catch a glimpse of her. But now she started appearing right in front of me. We walked to school chatting. Actually, it was her who
Ang iring na.
talking because I was so nervous that I couldn't think of anything to say.
Bakit ang busog?
Eddie and I
Ay,
started
mukhang.
meeting during
Ano?
every single break. But I couldn't even imagine that a girl like her could even remotely like someone like me. That's why I kept thinking that she only saw me as a friend. As she told me later, she had actually been waiting for me to ask her out. When she realized that I wasn't going to do it, she decided to do it herself. Of course, that hadn't occurred to me back then. So I was really surprised when one Saturday night she texted me, "Do you want to hang out tonight?" We met at a coffee shop near her house. By the end of the day,
May pagkataong giltuan din katong kuan. Tumlingin.
I couldn't sleep that night. I'm not someone who likes to go out in the evenings. As long as I'm in school, I prefer to focus on my studies. It seems like Eddie was my total
Kay
opposite.
dako kay niyo.
Thursday, she texted me about a restaurant.
Lutuan na ni Biko pang isa ka kilo ng spaghetti.
I hear it's very good. I didn't like the idea, but this was a girl that I was in love with. I had to say yes. But there was a problem. The restaurant looked super fancy. I figured it was probably expensive. When I looked at the menu online, I couldn't believe my eyes. It was a lot more expensive than I thought.
Abi ang chisa akong gibutang puting daghana.
I would have to save up my allowance for a year to be able to afford a place like that. Eddie didn't really show it, but it seemed that her family was very rich and they were used to going to places like this. The next day at school, Eddie asked, "So, what do you think of the restaurant?" I followed that place on Instagram. It's a celebrity hangout. I said sheepishly, "I don't feel comfortable in such places. Can't we just go to that coffee shop near you?" Eddie was disappointed. "For real? But I really want to go to this place. I've never been to such a chic restaurant." I deserve to go to such places? She said, staring at me. I was
Nga,
confused.
magluto ko
Eddie
kuan.
was saying that normally she wouldn't be
Kulit
able to
cake.
go to such a place. But at the same time, she thought that I could afford to take her there. So I said, babe, I'm embarrassed to say this, but I think eating at such a fancy restaurant would probably cost as much as my dad makes in a month. There's no way I can afford that. Eddie got really mad and yelled, Ezra, your family is so rich. Why are you lying to me? When I said, what makes you think that? She said, because you have a driver that drops you off at school every day. Because your car is worth a fortune. Because you only wear designer clothes. You think I can't tell that your family's really well off? I said, my dad works as a driver. The car you saw belongs to his boss. The clothes I'm wearing used to belong to the boss's son. It's actually a really sad story. I'll tell you about it sometime. Eddie began crying and suddenly screamed, you lied to me. When I said, babe, you got it all wrong, she said, don't call me babe, and ran away. At that moment, everything became clear to me. Eddie had been thinking I was rich. She became my girlfriend because she thought she could live her dream life with me. I felt really humiliated. The love of my life was a gold digger, and she didn't even feel the need to hide it. For a few days, I was devastated. I was thinking about Eddie every waking moment. But then I figured that this wasn't the right way to go about things. Instead of being sad, I had to draw some lessons. I only fell in love with Eddie because she was beautiful. But as I learned, looks could be deceiving. I felt better when I began to think this way.
O, apo ning luwaga. Oy, pang one time man pod.
Went away pretty soon. One day my dad said, my boss is
Lami
inviting us to
pagkaon.
his house. He said he had something important to tell us. We went there that evening. Mr. Kid is a wonderful person. We were having a fantastic time as we
Mao
always
gyud
do.
ang kuan sa ilay mo.
Then a
Asa
man
baron
came
ako
into the
yung
room.
tanawon mo.
Mr.
Asa
Kid
baron.
said,
Wag
let me
na apa siya.
introduce you to my attorney, Mr. Turner. He's with us today for a very important matter. The attorney took out a document and began reading. We couldn't believe our ears. My mom couldn't keep herself from crying. The document was Mr. Kid's will. Because he didn't have any other relatives, he had decided to leave half of his fortune to charity and the remaining half to me. I became incredibly rich overnight, Mr. Kitts said. This is the best decision I made in my life. Yes, I lost my son, but now I have an honorary son, and gave me a hug. I was going to receive the inheritance in the future, but Mr. Kitt wanted us to have better lives right away. We moved into his house. I started going to a private school. Now I was really living the life Eddie was dreaming about. She had no idea about any of this because we had stopped talking. One day, Mr. Kitt called me into his office. He said, my company sponsored a competition. I'm supposed to present the medals to the winners, but I'm sure they're all young like yourself. Would you like to go on my behalf? I was really excited. Half an hour later, my dad and I were at the venue. You guessed it, right? It was a swimming competition, and Eddie was most probably there. The award ceremony had begun as I entered the hall. The presenter said, our sponsor is going to present the medals to the winners. I quickly walked towards them.
Uy, bus, nata karon no.
Next to the presenter was the podium with the top
Butan on.
three
Wait lang, wait lang.
Saan tubag ta?
Thursday.
That Eddie was one of them, my knees started to shake. It turned out she got second place. She was clearly surprised to see me. First, I presented the gold medal to the winner. Then I stood in front of Eddie. I smiled as I hung the silver medal around her neck. Congratulations, I said. Eddie didn't say anything because she was completely stunned. That night, I got the message I'd been waiting for. Hey, what's up? I didn't write back because I didn't know how to respond. After a while, Eddie wrote, I always knew you were lying to me. That made me upset. I replied, I never told you a single lie in my life. I really wasn't rich back when we were dating, but then something surprising happened. Eddie wrote back, I don't understand any of this, but I don't want to make a big deal out of it. I missed you so much. I'm sure you missed
Dahil
me
kong saging
too.
ding be.
Of course,
Isa.
I didn't reply. She must
Hugas
have
na yan.
gotten the message because she never tried to get in touch with me after that. Thanks for listening to me.
Kasi,
If you like my story, please don't forget to like the video. See you.
sing ubo ding. Uy,
Kasi dali lang ko po.
sing ubo nga naman lang. Sige, ubo kay. Sige, katubang ang mga tao nga na mga nag-ubo.
Ate May, hirap ng lockdown. Di makagalaw.
Girls, laban lang. Just whisper.
Saging na puta.
Ready to looking for a crazy party at my friend's house when Mom barged into
Na.
Mia,
Lasagna.
we're moving
Tama na, Ding. Nauntok na.
because of her job.
Di, sobrang na kayo, Ding.
We moved and traveled a lot, but she promised we'd stay here till I finished high school. I tried to argue, but she had an even bigger bomb ready. Say your goodbyes to everyone tonight. We're heading for my hometown tomorrow morning. When I heard that, I nearly passed out. Her dull, boring hometown? It was one thing to travel from New York to Paris or Switzerland, like we had in the last 15 years, but her hometown? That was taking things too far. Hi, I'm Mia, and I have the perfect life. A famous supermodel mom, endless traveling, crazy shopping sprees, and 400 pairs of shoes. But then one day, my mom decided to move back to her hometown. The day we moved back,
Namin
it
ang
was as
saging.
if the entire town had come to see my mom. Not that 100 people was a big crowd, but boy, was it awkward. Everybody was awestruck at seeing Mom. And me too, because apparently no one knew Mom had a kid. A few hours later, as I was checking out the town, I heard someone talking about Mom. One of the women talking said that Mom had left 15 years ago. The woman said, I hear her girl is 15 too.
Mahal kayong saging diri kuan. Ang isa ka sipi. Ang abot o ang nabayaran kuan. 72. Ang isa ka sipi. Ding, hipusa na gud mo kananan, Ding. Mubiya na kas kananan ba? Biyaan imong plato.
Sorry.
Sorry. Muna ka na sorry kay mukaon ganang tao kabalo manghipos kabalo manghuga. Kay biyaan na kananan.
Kaon ko mo ba lasagna? Wala.
Nagtubang ang cellphone. Magkaon, biyaan na po ng plato sa kwarto. Biyaan na, pila na naka, kuan. Kabalo manghipos. Ang asan ng kaon, dito na po niya ipamilin. Ano siya, may irita ko. Tagsayo pa. Kung ako nagsulod sa kwarto niya, mga plato itong kinanan niya, huwag din ipanghipos, nagahi na. Ang taong istorya. Ang taong kuan, kaisara istorya, kasabot. Kada kuan kaon, istoryahan. Yang kuan, maingon dayon, sige banha, sige yaw-yaw. Di yun matuto ba, bisag usawag istorya, manakit na nila mong tilaok ng istorya. Ya pagkuan, kita may nahugog dautan, kay sige yaw-yaw. Nao gani kuan, kaisara na istoryahan, makasabot. Anak na ini kinakot mo sila kaya gamay pa dapat si gamay pa na sila matutuon kung taon na siya istoryahan di mo kasabot pagmata cellphone diretso nahimo cellphone dagan kay hugason tinuod lang ikan kus init di po ko pwede nga mulit ko hugas di gina siya mo kuan ang trabaho na sila gunit cellphone nakapoy na kayo, di na ako manugo. Kapuyan ako. Di naman ang bata. Ano usahay mga anak ko. Pangupuyog mo isa. Kapoy ba nang nakikawas balay yun, di ka balumuli. Ito na magkaon, pila may pagbitbit sa lababo na raman des kailin. May nag-abot og 1 kilometro bitbiton. Di pa jud makabitbit. Nang di ko ganahan magpundog balay. Samukan ko. Ang isang pundog kong balay. Ako nilang ilingaw-lingaw luto. Gabi mag-smell na lang para malingaw. Kaya di mo hununaon, ma-stress sa mo. Hindi po ko gusto ma-stress. Kaya balo kang kuhan, ma-stress ka. Hindi po pwede na imong pasumbanan, imong stress. Gitar may imong control, di man lang tao. Ako, ma-stress ko. Hindi gina ko na patuyangan ma-stress ko. Kalkansita. Una kadang paagi para di ka ma-stress. Muna usay magyaw-yaw ko kay muna ako yung kisig yaw-yaw. Ano ka na yun? Dako manad na. Anak kong butas sa una, saligan ako. Hindi po ko gusto suguon kay kabalon magulihok. Hindi ko suguon. Pero kanap sa kunsaon. Suguog sa dili, murag gihapon. Mukinol. Di sa kabalon mag sarili lihok ba. Hindi sa ibuhaton. Ang gibalaan na nagunit cellphone. Pag matas buntag, before matulog, cellphone. Ang dahonon pa jud mukaon. Pas mo na hinon sa sigig cellphone. Namatay pagkaon. Kapoy ba ning mamadlong di lalim. Yung high blood nun pa ko na high blood na ko. Na ako di yung mo pa stress. Ang diri ko pinaghan ng hugason ako. O dilain ako. O tawa. Putig yun dagan ng hugason. Kay di ginakasugo sa pagunsaon. Muna di po ko pwede mo kandahin sa hugason kay gikas init. Ambot na lang maglaba pa ko ron tanawa kong labunon. Ako ra isa in taon nasugo sila na naaw. Pag man akong hugas ito maglaba pa. Akong salog perti panghugawa. Sa unsaon ako. Dapat nakoy ka alalay anak niya kay ko ana gihapon nalay mong ulo ana ito may ibalhin ang gamay sa blanan hindi na maminaw pagyawiyain mo nang subuon. Dagan, ato na din sa kanto, lok-lok. Di na nang mugawas. Gawas na mukaon. Ayo. Sa pag-istoryahan mo, kapilan ng istoryahan na. Palabay, stikas tunggan. Di siya gusto matuto ba? Di siya gusto makuan. Gusto na iyang mali. Gusto doon. Kung ibalhin diri kay. Parang gamay nilang yan sa blanan. Ay na lang. Hindi ko na anak itong ugali. Kung natin ako, namin inahan. Hindi ko dito pwede na ako anan kay kasults inahan. Na ako lang utak nga magkaon hiposon ang plato pa ingon sa hugasan bisan kana na lang iyong hugasan na iyang gikan andi gyud muna magampo na lang ko sa Ginoo nga tagaan ko may primilawas kay maluya ka saon na lang way mulihok hindi tao nga nana di maka kabalo maguna-una nga pagkuan hiwi-hiwian lang ka naging nila mas may pagdagang anak kay makapili kag kinsay na sa imuha kay naa gyud nay suwail isa ra ka buok suwail wag yo kay kapilian nagdili suwail pero kana apuro ko naman na isarapod isarapod ka buok isarapod na iyakuan ya isod po daghan po kag bata puro po suwail kung sinisyon po abuton pero posible po siguro nga tanan may nana nagitaong nga di gusto matuto nga hinan kung sa una di ko gusto na ko matuto di ko mapuyog balay Na maminyo po kag klaro. Kabana po kag di maayo. Kung sa pay buhaton nimong maayo. Di kay appreciate. Kag muna na nimong buhat anang unsa na kuan di ingon nag dili pud maayo ilang pagtanaw sa imo ha. Balo mo ang care og tao. Ang gamay na lang ang nabilin kaya mo gikantungan ang nakain. Muna lang ni nabilin kung gibalhin diri kay tinda ko. Hindi siguro na kay kaubag balay no ano mo kupirit ba. Sa na daghan mong kaubas balay unya mga badlongon. Pay magpuyog tur isa. Ang takluban kay panog langaw. Ano busog na. Nang malipay kung ganamadto ko sa mga ante. May gagaw. Malingaw na lang ko dito kay duha may magluto. Nya na kay istorya. Sa magpundok kag balay, burig kayo. Yan, kauban. Di katuhuan. Nga ako, di na ka manugo eh. Ugod sa akong tabaon dire. Ako nilang dihukon. Simple lang tayo nang mahugas o plato unta. Di mo na bugat, kaya doon harami magkaon. Lisod magkain niya buhaton. Muna di na manugo. Ano lang paghipos lang gani ang kani. Dali ang pangreklamo. Pagdala naman lang utas platos. Bagira. Kapoy. Hindi ko palabi po dugkuan. Di po ko may stress kay ano. Narabatag batanon. Senior na biyata. Kapit ni idara pa huway na. Relax. Relax bantay naman hinuunta. Isang asa ko maabot. Tapos yung balay. Balay na, mahugas ako. Bye-bye. Ingat mo tanan.